If you look into the syllabus of GS paper 1, there are 4 different parts in it broadly. First one is the Indian culture, then comes history, then comes Indian society as well as geography. History is again divided into world history as well as Indian history, and geography is divided into world geography and Indian geography. Under art and culture, there is Indian culture will cover the salient aspects of art forms, literature and architecture from ancient to modern times. So for Indian culture, first is what is the book list? Book list is the old NCRT written by R.S. Sharma. Along with that, the fine arts NCRT of class 11th, and the third one is Indian art and culture written by Nitin Singhania. These 3 are the books. So now next is how to study from these books. From the R.S. Sharma book, go through different time periods, that is during Harappan civilization, Buddhism, Mauryas, Guptas, etc. Understand the literature that happened during these periods. Understand the architecture that happened during these periods, the paintings, the art forms. Like that you cover for, and even have a diagrams. For example, if they are asking about Buddhist architecture, you should know the diagram of a stupa. You should be able to draw it very quickly. Along with that, for temple architecture, you should have a rough temples diagram. Or if they are asking about Buddhist art forms, just draw in a rough map of India, Gandhara art form, Mathura art form, in which places it was there. So like this, rough diagrams for most of the questions, prepare it beforehand. So after that, what you have to do? After that, you download the toppers, previous year's toppers, their answer booklets, and see what type of answers they have written. So download about 20 copies and you will get a rough idea of how they are writing the answers. So after that, take the previous year question papers and try to solve all these questions. And you have to keep the time limit. First, you just write the answers for the previous year questions after having studied so much. Then after that, you start the answer writing practice. Coming to the history part, if you look into the syllabus, there is modern Indian history from about the middle of the 18th century until the present, significant events, personalities, issues, the freedom struggle, its various stages and important contributions from different parts of the country. So basically the modern Indian history. For this you have studied the spectrum for prelims. Use the same resources even here. And the next portion is post-independence consolidation and reorganization within the country. For this you can take any coaching institute's notes, whichever you are able to get hold of. I use the Vision IAS booklet for studying this and I read it selectively. So the next portion is history of the world, will include events from 18th century such as Industrial Revolution, World Wars, withdrawal of national boundaries, colonization, decolonization, political philosophies like communism, capitalism, socialism, etc., their forms and effect on the society. So for this I use the Forum IAS booklet. I used this because I found that it had less number of pages compared to some other coaching institutes booklets. So I used this and I read it selectively because from the world history part, many questions won't be asked. In few years there were 0 questions, few years there were 1 or 2 questions asked. So don't spend a lot of time reading bulky books for this part. Read it selectively. First try to finish all the other portions, then read this. So same for as you did for art and culture, even here after you finish this, solve all the previous year question papers, then practice answer writing, then also download the toppers answers booklets and see how they have written. Finally take any test series, write the answers and get evaluated through the mentors. Now let us look into the Indian society part. Coming to the syllabus, there is salient features of Indian society, diversity of India, role of women and women's organization, population and associated issues, poverty and developmental issues, urbanization, their problems and their remedies, effects of globalization on Indian society, social empowerment, communalism, regionalism and secularism. So this is perhaps the most dynamic part of GS paper 1, but also the most important part because this gets repeated not just in GS paper 1 but also in GS paper 2. So for this main thing, what you have to do is read the newspaper, especially the editorial part of the newspaper, and make your own notes. So basically, for example, starting it as the Indian society. find out all the keywords that are present in the syllabus. So if you see the Indian society, what constitutes Indian society, take the different portions in the Indian society. There is women, there are transgenders, there is SCs, STs, senior citizens, children, disabled, etc. So identify the problems faced by them or the challenges, and what are the measures that have already been taken, and the third column is what are the suggested measures. So each one of these topics, look at from this angle. Secondly, for each of these keywords, that is women's organization, population, poverty, urbanization, etc., find data, because you should be able to support your answer with adequate data. So you can take the data from various documents, such as I use from the census of 2011. You also can use from socio-economic caste census data. There is also the sample registration survey data. So basically you download these documents and at a short write the data for different things, like what is the percentage of SCs that are present in our country, what is the percentage of transgenders that are present in our country, what is the birth rate, what is the death rate, what is the sex ratio, what is the population, which state has the highest population. You can drop this data here and there in the answer booklet, which looks very nice, and at the same time also have diagrams. Basically, if you have the literacy rate of 74%, you can just draw a pie chart, or you can draw a graph chart, bar chart. You can have like a 74% literacy rate, 82% male literacy, 65% female literacy. You can just draw it. It looks very good in the answer paper. Then after this, you have to practice answer writing, because this is very dynamic, and answer writing is the only thing where you will able to eventually write answers to any questions. Initially you can't write, but eventually after practice you will be able to write at least a decent answer for any given question that is asked. I will try to attach in the description box the notes that I prepared for this GS paper 1. It is not a detailed notes, it is a crisp one which contains data, facts and certain schemes, names and examples, etc., which you can use here and there for the exam. This is what I used, and I referred this just before the exam. Before entering the hall, I would read this and go, so that here and there I can add these datas, etc. I will try to upload that. Coming to the geography part, if you look into the syllabus, there is first is salient features of world's physical geography. This portion I read from the GC Lyon, especially the part 2 of the GC Lyon. From there I covered this portion. The next is the distribution of key natural resources across the world, including South Asia and the Indian subcontinent, factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary and tertiary sector industries in various parts of the world, including India. For this portion, you can use any coaching institute's booklet, similar as before. Any booklet which you get hold of that and read from that. And nextly, you can also watch to certain YouTube videos. I watched in the Mrunal sir's YouTube channel, there were certain geography videos. So I learned first from that, then I took the coaching institute's any booklets and I used it. Then next, coming to the important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclones, etc., geographical features and their location changes in critical geographical features, including water bodies and ice caps, and in flora and fauna and the effects of such changes. So for this, I read the class 11th and 12th NCERT. You have already prepared that for your prelims. Use the same NCERT here. So this is the book list. When it comes to mains, answer writing is a very important part of that. So every day you have to practice answer writing. So what I did was, first for 6 months I used the secure initiative of Insights that was present. You can use any other initiatives which are getting for free online. For 6 months what I did was, every day afternoon I used to write about 5 questions answer. I would set the timer for about 35 minutes. So I would give about 7 minutes per question and I would write the answers. Then I would evaluate my answer myself. I would compare my answers to others, and finally I would prepare a crisp notes and just keep it so that I'll be able to revise it before the actual exam. So once I did this for 6 months, I got a hang of answer writing. Because no matter how much you study, you should be able to put it in a proper format, finish it in the time limit. There should be an introduction, there's a body, there's a conclusion. And it can be in any format. I use the point format for that. So I did that, and also tried to include diagrams. So first you practice like this 5 questions, then eventually you should be able to write all the 20 questions in a 3-hour time period. So later, as the mains approached, what I did was 3 hours I would sit in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon. I would try to finish all the papers. Similarly, like GS1, GS2, next day it will be GS3, GS4. So because practicing this is very important, because it is tiring. You don't have that much energy to finish. Initially I was not able to finish even one paper. Then gradually after practice I was able to finish all the papers on time. So this practice is very essential. So instead of writing like only 17 questions and writing great answers, always try to complete the paper and write all 20 questions answers first, then you try to improve your answers. So that's it for today's video. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for watching. See you again next time. Bye.